We are live. We are live at this instance. If you can hear me, good to know. Good to know. It's been an amazing journey. We are on day 10. Interesting. We are on day 10 of masculinity today, and today's topic is most insightful, interesting, and it could be comical depending on how you want to look at it. But for me, today it was important to at least get people to understand that there's the thing around control. So over the last 9+ days, right? We have been brewing on this thought, and one of the things that informed the setup of this series was, as always mentioned, was when I realized that I was already 20 years in marriage, and there could be a few lessons to be able to share, and to keep learning on how either to keep on this journey, and what could have cost us, or given me the ability to be able to stay true. Now, this is also born out of the fact that the statistics around us are shown that there's an increased rate of divorce, increased rate of separation, and people are clueless as to even how to midwife this process, hoping that they can have permanence of some sort, and hopefully things can go well. Anyway, why this is important, and whilst also considering this, I see this as my own contribution. Okay, I see this as my own contribution to the greater community of men, and to the women who love their men, and that maybe somehow there could just be a reference that people can actually begin to look at, okay, and begin to see, and then begin to say, okay, maybe there is a need to be able to make life different. So today's topic is essentially around the day I stopped controlling my wife and found real happiness. If you've been following this program, you'll soon realize how I talked about the moments when I was having to be a control freak as a result of my personality type. I was usually truly always either always wanting to have my way, or just hoping that it could just be my way that was the only way. What a controlling behavior, because I realized that, one, I did not have monopoly of knowledge, but prior to that time, I just felt that because of the way society has either to foisted this thing on you, and with the examples you have around, you were just in control. You just needed to be in control, and in being in control meant that it was about you saying my way was the only way, even if we were all going into a drowning pit, right? Now, so I soon learned the hard way. How did I learn the hard way? I learned that just being a control freak was not sufficient to keep the home at peace. In fact, it was the reason for conflict. I talk about those 4 horses where there was resentment, there will always be misgivings, and over time, you just soon realize that there will just come a time where you would have truly driven your partner to wit's end. Okay, so let's start off with a question. Okay, as to how do you feel, or when you control things in your relationship, and if you control things in your relationship, is it born out of a need for you to be in control? What will happen if you let go of that need, for control? Because until we begin to understand why we're doing what we're doing, somehow we'll just realize that it's an illusion. And this I truly call the illusion, of control in marriage. And a lot of people experience this illusion because, like I had said, from my background, having been raised from the southwest of Nigeria, the people I saw as a role model, it was their way as the man, the master, the king, the ruler, the dictator. if he said no, then it was no. It was just a way of also knowing that yes, you were truly in charge, right? Well, that's really an illusion. I call it the delusion of grandeur. Okay, but it's also an illusion, and a constant illusion in marriage that has led to a lot of friction, unnecessary friction, as to particularly also in these times. Remember, in the times we're in, we're saying that look, it's about collegiate responsibility, it's a collective responsibility. If you model countries like the UAE, you find out that that's what they are. Okay, yes, there's somebody fully in charge of the entire Emirati, but for whatever it is, there's somebody that is giving instructions, but everybody is able to take collective responsibility wherever they are, at whatever point they need to. And really, you only just kill yourself if you have lived a life where everything must happen by your hand. Then that way, I don't think you can truly ever survive. So why then do we people have experienced the need to control? It's born out of, most times, out of insecurity. I've realized that what you truly have, nobody can take it away from you. Like if you allude to yourself as the king, as the head, you're trying to be a king, or trying to enforce or display your power does not make you a king. One of the things I learned from I think the martial arts school of thought is that, so you heard that this guy has a black belt, right? But the black belt holder is restrained, as a form of discipline, not to, be provoked by every toss of the wind. If you understand what I'm saying. So now he's a black belt holder. He does not have to go around and say I'm a black belt holder. Or you have a jet, it's not borrowed now. You don't have to go all around and say, no, that's my jet. I have a jet. This is my jet. That's also how it works. Because you probably have power, okay, resident power and authority over your home. So you're the head of the home, right? But by trying to always be the guy that calls the shot, rather than intelligently having, the people arrive at the destination you want, is truly not intelligent. So I think, usually that illusion of control in marriage, and for me, what I experienced and I admitted over time, was clearly out of the need, okay, to secure or to ensure that some of those decisions that will be taken will not impede or affect me in a negative way. It's also tied down to vulnerability, as to when we say we're vulnerable, we're saying we're open to the point where we can display and express our emotions. Now, at that times when a decision needs to be taken, and then because you're a control freak, and you feel that decision might be inimical to your ego, okay, and then you go bonkers. So we're saying that because people fear insecurity, because people fear losing to be in charge, when in actual fact they are in charge, okay, then there's usually this heightened sense of insecurity, and that's why people are control freaks. Another thing is that the true power in marriage, okay, isn't about control, it's about partnership. And we established that in the first bits, the first segment of in the first 7 days of this series, where we started to talk about the 7 P's that the men have a role to play in the life of the woman, and even in the life of their family. And one of the things that underpins all of those discussions is the P, or as to purpose. Okay, once there is a purpose, there's a goal, there's a vision as to why we have a union, it's clear to have everybody share the burden together. And in sharing the burden together, you're also sharing responsibilities, and you're also sharing your power, delegating it across the levels. Now, if you have to take every, pardon my French, freaking decision across every single matter, oh boy, you're on your way to the hospital. So we're saying that this delusion of always being in charge, or wanting to always be in charge, is born out of your lack of understanding of your role as a partner and not a dictator. Okay, and that in this partnership is about two good heads, bringing ideas together, and putting 1,000 or 10,000 to flight. We also realize that control creates emotional distance and weakens connection. Remember I talked about the 4 horses, and as you constantly go on this control drive where you always want to be in charge, you soon realize that these issues around, I think I have it in my notes from these issues around having to be resentful. Where do I have it? Yes, so you find out that there's resentment, there's defensiveness, there's stonewalling. Now, once all these things begin to manifest as a result of you constantly having to have your way, you have started to create a crack, and that crack is already leading to a distance in your relationship. And as that distance grows, becomes wider, what happens is that distance also now begins to reduce the level of intimacy, and you just find out that you guys become passionless. There's no soul in your relationship. Now, just also note that the times that we're in are fast evolving. In fact, very highly dynamic. During the first series of the last 7 days, we talked about the dynamism of the times that we're in. And we're saying that even the operationalization of the role of masculinity, of a man, of a husband, has gone far beyond just being the husband, the financial provider, and the protector of his home. And that it plays a more critical role, And because of this understanding of the critical role that the man plays, there's now the understanding that he must now begin to, not relinquish power. Is that he's sharing power, is a partner on this journey, because then they can truly begin to accomplish greater feats. So we must then limit control, ensure that there's connection rather than control. We talked yesterday about the disciplinarian dad, or this disciplinarian versus the dad, okay, where rather than control, it has a connection and it's about understanding and love. That also extends to your spouse. So for any woman that is listening, or to the guys that are design this program is designed for, in redefining masculinity, the narrative of today requires that you must work in tandem as a partner with your spouse. Okay, so I kind of emphasize that if there's a distance, there will be a weakened connection, and so that true power in marriage isn't about control. Another thing is that I will share a personal experience, because I know that a lot of men have grown up with the idea that being in control is part of what makes us strong. In relationships, it's about the man's way. So you're dating a girl, and then it's like if the girl is jilted, or you had your way with the ladies back in those days, it would have meant that yes, you were the chief. Okay, and then the lady will come crawling, why did you do this, why did you do that? But you can't carry that mentality in this age, okay, because even the women are calling the shots. They become financial juggernauts, they become powerhouses, boss ladies or boss women, and they have people also that they're in charge of. So there's the masculine nature, right? And then the masculinity of the masculine nature that also always wants things to happen. But if we continue in that order, there will constantly be friction. Okay, because in maintaining control, it means that you have to keep things in order. You are guiding the decisions. You are ensuring that the household runs according, to your expectations. What time do you have, really? So, but what if this needs for control is actually what is holding us back from our happiness? We're saying that if we hint too much on being in control, being in charge, we could be, denying ourselves of true happiness. And, and that's truly what we're executing on today, to say, guys, can we get things going? When I started in my relationship, I was a control freak. And when I understood my personality style, I soon realized I had something called command. With command, it caused a lot of friction. I always just kept, the marriage, always on heat. So there was constantly battle. And I've always said it, that the first 5 years of my marriage was a storm, was a raging, tumultuous storm where my wife would pull out emotionally. I couldn't understand why. It wasn't until I started to have these honest conversations. It was when I started to also become aware. And I encourage anyone that has not done a personality test, a psychometric test on themselves and on their spouse to undertake that venture, because some of the things that really irritated me about the decision making of my wife, where I soon now realized that she's wired differently. So that's why I also take my own decisions differently, right? Or I'm informed to make a recommendation of why we must do things differently. But I noticed the beauty of whenever we take decisions together. I think in one of those episodes, I thought about one of the critical decisions we took together that truly just saved us money, gave us peace of mind when we were trying to look for a school for our daughters. And truly, that experience changed the entirety of our game, particularly as we started to see the gains of taking collective decisions, or sharing decisions, or taking or contemplating various ideas as we reason together, even almost as God commanded, let us reason together. So you must just stop. You just must stop controlling, and you better start trusting. Because I said, once you don't trust, you start to experience that. Once you don't trust, you live in fear. You become you are not open to being vulnerable. But once you start to trust, because that person is your partner now, this same person that you call your spouse feeds you, right? Except she wants to poison you. Now, if you've entrusted her with the ability to feed you and she hasn't poisoned you yet, why can't you entrust her with the ability to also take decisions alongside with yourself? Start listening to her now. Start trusting her judgment. At first it was difficult for me, having to confront some of these insecurities and fears about what it meant to let go of control. But as time went on, one of the things I soon realized was that, hey, there was a shift, and that's when I truly started to experience another level. Now, one of the other things I also realized was when I was down and out, there's the $30 last $30 experience I always share, and it was also at that time I also started to see how if I'd hinged on financial authority, or financial control or financial leadership, at the point where I did not have, it then meant that I could not call a shot. But no, because as soon as we started to experience that shift ab initio, even though it was not as liberalized as it was at that time, I started to understand why. I needed to just relinquish, or avail access and not always have my way. So letting go of control brings happiness. Okay, it fosters mutual respect, because you know that we took this decision together. Okay, so you better stop trying to control your spouse. You need to control the space that you want to experience mutual respect. Okay, your spouse feels trusted and valued, where you oftentimes, allow her or him, if you're a woman, to take that decision. So you need to let go of controlling, because it fosters mutual respect and deepens connection. And I don't know how well I want to overemphasize this, but that when we let go of control, we begin to experience mutual respect, and it deepens the connection between us. Another thing that happens is that true happiness in marriage comes from emotional freedom, not control. Now, so when you say people say they are not happy, is that they can't even they are not experiencing true happiness because they are not free. Okay, everything is don't do this, stay here, don't do that, you can't do this. Now you find out that it's almost like the person is in a cage, and the way humans are, we're free will creatures. We should be able to take decisions. We'll be able to move in our stride. Now, what we can do in that instance is to provide guidance, okay? And somehow also, you find out that if you're not able to provide this kind of levels of guidance or support mentally and emotionally, you soon realize that you start to starve your relationship of happiness. So I always encourage guys. I say, you know what? The only way we can start to find lasting joy, is to foster that sense of mutual respect in our relationships, and then start to create emotional freedom. Okay, where true happiness is such that that you now start to, ensure that both partners can be their authentic self, without fear or judgment or of control. Letting go of all controls, just ensures that your partner, is able to express him or herself, in a more free way, a freer way, leading to more vibrant and fulfilling relationship. Another thing that does is that it builds trust. There's this saying that first we try, then we trust. Now, I noticed that every time you get somebody to do something, the level of trust increases. But when you keep controlling and you micromanage, even at the place of work, you realize that control erodes trust. But when you let go of the need to control, you build an environment of trust and security. And sometimes when you start to let people lead, or you start to avail people access and to the use of discretion and initiatives, it starts to build trust, and that's the foundation of a happy marriage. And by showing that you trust your spouse, you strengthen the bond. So real trust is built when control is replaced with faith in your partner. When you know that my partner can take a decision on behalf of us, and that yes, whatever our decision is good enough for us, or whatever his decision is good enough for us. But when you have to say no, this decision cannot carry on, and if it's a matter of life and death, then guess what? You would have probably caused somebody's death. Now, so when we want to truly find happiness or joy in our partnership, we cannot but be partners. We cannot be in taking dominion or authority over our spouse. Your spouse is your partner now, except you've not understood this whole contract. And I beg you to go and watch, I think the third in the series, or even the first in the series, where we also outline the role of a man. You are not a dictator. You guys have equal voices, so you both must feel respected. You must be able to work together as a team and find joy in collaboration, not competition, of your shared decisions. And you'll be able to just mutually respect yourself and rejoice and be happy over some of those decisions. So there's always a need to have the how. The labor of fools worries them because they do not know how. So how do you let go of control and build true partnership? I'm going to be, running through that to say, in letting go, how do you let go? How to let go of control and build a true partnership? One of the ways we can do that is recognize the root cause of control. So when you recognize the root cause of your need for control, it's like you have come to halfway solving the problem. Because as you start to reflect, why do I want to be control free? Why do I always want to be in charge? Why do I always want decisions to be made by me? It's about a snake coming into a room, right? What matters is that the snake was killed. It doesn't matter who killed the snake or the processes for the snake to be killed. That's the same mentality I take even towards my team members. When I reflect on it, why do I want to be in control? It's because I fear that there might be error. I fear that I might lose something, or I fear that things could go wrong. Well, as you begin to release some levels of fear and you start to embrace some levels of faith, you start to see that these issues around insecurity starts giving room to confidence and security, and then you just begin to understand that, hey, I need to start to let go of some things. So recognize the root cause, the roots of the control or your need for control. Then practice trust. I can't overemphasize the need for you to practice trust. You need to trust your spouse's judgment and watch how it strengthens your marriage. There are some choices. Let me give you an instance. I was going on a trip one day, and I would literally just say, this is where I'll get my bags. I go to the store, and for whatever reason, I just, because we built this level, I know the kind of the things I want to begin to extend to my wife, because she has some kind of superior understanding of those things. So I called her and said, hey, look, I have a bag I need to buy, right? And this bag, I think then it was about $1,400,000 and something, and I needed to go on that trip. The next day, they say, no, just walk out of that store. I'm like, I said, no, but this set of bags are fine. They say, just walk out of that store. I was like, okay, this woman has come again. I hope you are not going to go and get me something inferior, because I really love the quality of what I saw. The next minute, we're headed to a market somewhere in Abuja, It's called Wuse Market. And lo and behold, by the time we got to the Wuse Market, I saw something that was even better than what I saw there for less than 30%. So almost about 500,000. Yeah, so I'm like, whoa! I have to thank her. And guess what? Eventually happened. you can't use their insight for free. I was compelled to buy our own set. So I bought a set for me. I bought a set for her for far less than what I would have bought the set. If I was buying it alone without taking decision or taking that joint decision or relinquishing, or having to have her as a decision maker, as a partner in this informed or choice that I wanted to make. So I tell you guys, so it just helps to, and what you guys, first of all, can you imagine? It has built confidence, it has built trust. You have eventually also availed her a gift indirectly that you probably would have bought it and thought you were buying for yourself alone. And everybody is happy. Okay, so we just sorry, there was a break in communication. Yes, you need to embrace vulnerability. You just must be able to embrace vulnerability however it is. There's no way you want to run away from embracing vulnerability. And as you begin to take those decisions together, you find out that you are letting go, and it's giving you some form of respite, some form of respite. Now, what are the psychological benefits of letting go of control? If you are the only one taking all the decisions at your home, in your house, in your organization, what would eventually start to happen is that you begin to experience fatigue, mental strain. Whereas if you free yourself a bit, you get more relaxed and you start to experience a peaceful relationship. Now, letting go of control reduces stress and anxiety in relationships. You can't overemphasize that we must be able to let go of those things that that causes a mental fatigue or strain, and then be sure that when you are not available, somebody can take an informed decision. It also improves your communication level, because if you have to carry your partner along, and you are replacing control with open communication, with conversations, with connection, honesty, openness, and it leads to productivity, and this leads to better problem solving and a healthier relationship. Yeah. Well, who does this? So let me just put on the this is amazing. Now, I don't know how they set up the light here. This is so. Pardon me. If you are watching this, if you are in Nigeria, you probably are familiar with this. I'm waiting for them to bring back power or put on the gen. That will happen in a minute. But I just couldn't imagine how I would have floundered on this. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we're back. Apologies for that break in transmission. So yes, it improves communication. Okay. With this, we also experience greater emotional intimacy. And one of the things that intimacy brings out to a relationship is that it helps to, help us to release those necessary hormones that also keeps us in check, eases blood circulation, ensures that we remain healthy, we're at rest and at peace. And remember, it's when we're at peace that we can experience purity within, and with purity we can experience and pursue the purpose for which we have been assigned to. So we need to overcome the fear of letting go by constantly, ensuring that you practice some of these things. You must ensure that your leadership in marriage isn't about controlling your spouse. It's about empowering them. And how do you empower them? Just like your colleagues, your partners, your friends. It's by trusting them. And how do you trust them? It's by building a partnership where both individuals can thrive. So letting go of control doesn't diminish your role as a husband. It enhances it by creating a stronger, more balanced relationship built on mutual respect and trust. So before I go, I'd like to bring the biblical perspective to this issue of control and trust in marriage. And I hope that somehow you all have gotten some insights around this. Is that it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This principle applies not only to our relationship with God, but also to our marriages. Trust is the foundation of a healthy, God-centered relationship. So instead of relying on control, we are called to trust our spouses and to let go of the need to dictate every aspect of the relationship. I had to read that because I consider that this line is so critical to some of the things that we do. So marriage in partnership, guys, as a husband, we are called to love, trust, and to just support our wives. And you really just must be able to do that. If you cannot, then you would have soon realized that you are creating a wall of some sort, and this wall, if not truly controlled, can begin to cause a lot of friction. So in closing, I'd like to say marriage is a partnership, and as husbands we are called to trust, love, and support our wives as equals, allowing them to flourish and express their God-given gifts and talents. Guys, I've had a great time. We've had hiccups left, right, and center. There was a power outage. At some point, there was an internet disruption. But guess what? I'm here. And that's also what we also face in relationships. And it's relatable to the point where no matter what happens, man, let's keep on keeping on and never give up, because truly there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So I hope that you're able to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow promises me an interesting day, and I will be taking this on further, just so that we are able, to start to talk about how we can raise strong children, and why emotional support matters more than discipline. Yeah, we've talked about the disciplinarian, versus the dad, but now can we start to see how to fully begin to give emotional support? See you same time tomorrow, and if truly this has blessed you, share and also subscribe, and get somebody to join. Okay, on this note, hasta la vista, bye.